Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Basketball Conference, the ACC football podcast. My name is Joey Weaver. He is Mike McDaniel. Mike, first question, week 9 in the ACC, and there's only one game that is more important than all the rest of them, and you know which one it is.
It's our game on Thursday night, Joey, the Battle of the Techs, Part 3, since this podcast has begun. So we've come from humble beginnings, as they say, and we're in Part 3. My school, unfortunately, is 0-2. Let's make it 1-2 on Thursday night, shall we?
That's right. The TECHMO Bowl 3 in the Basketball Conference podcast lore. As everybody knows, this is the most important game in the ACC all year. This is the one that determines who the real Tech is for the rest of the next calendar year. Ever since we've started this podcast, Georgia Tech has been the real Tech. As you mentioned, Mike, Georgia Tech 2-0 in the Basketball Conference era against Justin Fuente's Hokies. This looks, the Hokies looking to change that now. Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. The Yellow Jackets in Blacksburg, where they have had some troubles. They won last time in Blacksburg in 2016 and again in 2014. However, Paul Johnson's never beaten Virginia Tech on a weeknight, which is a problem because these teams play often on weeknights just as God intended. In this game, Mike, your Hokies, a 3-point favorite. The total's 58.5. Are you feeling confident in your Hokies?
Not really. Not really. My last memory of Virginia Tech was watching them nearly blow the game against North Carolina. So, no, I'm not confident even a little bit. I do like. I guess I like the Hokies to win here. I trust them a little bit more than I trust Georgia Tech at this point. With that being said, I do not feel great about it. The only reason why I think that the Hokies will be okay is because history shows that they play pretty well on Thursday nights against Paul Johnson coach teams. So that's kind of where I'm sitting here. Two pretty poor defenses. That we can say. If you're into that sort of thing, the over-under is 58.5, and I don't mind the over, Joey. You got a young Virginia Tech defense who has never seen a Paul Johnson offense before. For a lot of these players, of course, Bud Foster, historically, his defenses have performed pretty well against Paul Johnson coach teams offensively. But with that being said, they got a bunch of players primarily in the secondary who do not know how to tackle and who are not exactly all that physical. So when you have that going against an option team that wants to run it right down your throat, that's usually not a recipe for success. I expect Georgia Tech to have success running the football in this football game. I expect Virginia Tech to be able to, at the very least, throw the football well in this game. The running game's been going in fits and starts for a large portion of this season. So we'll see which version of the running game shows up in Blacksburg on Thursday night. I will be there, Joey. So wish me luck, mostly because I don't know what state I will be in mentally, physically, all of the above. I will probably be pretty belligerent by game time, which, like you said, weekday football, just as God intended. Give me the Hokies to win, the cover 3, high scoring affair, coin flip, whoever has the ball last wins. That's where I'm going with this.
There is reason to think that Georgia Tech should feel good about this game. I mean, again, they've won 2 in a row in this series. Virginia Tech, very young and inexperienced on defense. They've had some glitchy moments on offense, especially, again, you mentioned 2 weeks ago against North Carolina. It took them the entire game to get to 21 points against North Carolina, right? There's reasons I should like Georgia Tech here, and honestly, Mike, I just kind of don't. I don't trust this Georgia Tech team. I don't trust them to go on the road. At some point, I've started to think about it. It's like it doesn't matter how good Georgia Tech's game plan is in some of these games, how much they know where to attack an opposing defense or an opposing offense, all this stuff. If they can't execute, that's been Georgia Tech's biggest issue this year in a lot of ways, has not been that they don't have the right game plan or the right approach. It's that they can't execute it. You look at the offensive line is missing blocks in a lot of places. The passing game, you're getting wide receivers that are open and you just can't hit them. The defense not always in the right place. It's just I don't trust this team to execute in a hostile road environment. The best thing I can say is that they do have about as fully healthy an offensive line as they will have had all year. So that's a positive, but I don't know. I don't like it. I'm with you. I think I'm on Virginia Tech covering 3 on Thursday night. I think Virginia Tech just is going to have some more ways to win this game. And I don't trust Georgia Tech's execution against this team. If you look at S&P Plus, the best team that Georgia Tech has beaten this year was Louisville. They've lost every game they've played to a team ranked higher than 97th Louisville. That's 87th Pittsburgh, 40th South Florida, 35th Duke, and 2nd Clemson. Virginia Tech's 51st. So at this point, I'm kind of repeating myself. I'm with you. Give me the Hokies to cover 3. I don't like this game at all for Georgia Tech. I just don't trust this team at this point.
How do you like the over under 58.5?
I kind of like the over. I think the last couple of matchups, both of them ended, I believe, right at 50 points. It was 30-20 2 years ago. It was 28-22 last year. So this would require a bit higher scoring. Honestly, I might lean under. And I'm going to hit on this here in just a second. There's something to be said for weeknight unders is a popular trend. I think it's been a terrible trend this year, actually. I think a lot of the weeknight games have gone over if you look at the Thursday, Friday games. But, if we think Georgia Tech's execution issues might turn into a couple of really short fields or even a defensive touchdown or something like that for Virginia Tech, which I wouldn't put past them at all, I think that helps the case for sure. The number is fairly high, though, in all honesty. I agree with you, though, that both of these teams from a defensive standpoint, not particularly imposing. We'll say that.
Yeah. Speaking of weeknight overs that don't hit, how about that Falcons-Giants game last night that you and I were texting about?
Damn.
Not over, by the way.
Not over. And somehow Matt Ryan goes out there and completes 18 straight passes to end the game and finishes up like 31 of 39 for 375, no picks, all this stuff, and they managed 23 points. This is why I'm not watching the Falcons this year, Mike. This is why.
But they won.
They won. They didn't screw it up. So that's
they tried.
They sure did. That's a positive. Yeah. All right. Well, Virginia Tech -3 at the very least. Consider the over, but again, that's a lot of points. So I might lean under, but at your own risk. Mike, let's move on. We get the party started Thursday with the TECHMO Bowl, 7:30 p.m. We're going to keep the party rolling 7 o'clock on Friday on ESPN as the Miami Hurricanes, a 3.5-point road favorite in Chestnut Hill against the Boston College Eagles. A.J. Dillon back in the game. Miami's quarterbacks are going to be in attendance, and some combination of them is going to be playing. It's going to start with Malik Rozier, for better or worse, and then we don't know where that Ferris wheel will end up. So, Mike, I'm not going to lie. In all, public perception and all this stuff, is Miami a better team than Boston College? They're probably more talented, all this stuff. Yeah. I like the Eagles. I think Boston College wins this game outright on the field, Mike. Give me the Eagles in this one, I think.
Okay. I have no confidence in Miami's quarterbacks right now. I have no confidence in Mark Richt to make the right decision regarding the quarterbacks. I don't know what BC is going to look like because Anthony Brown's been fine with or without A.J. Dillon. Obviously, he's a different player when A.J. Dillon's on the field because Brown can actually throw the football without getting absolutely mauled. If A.J. Dillon's healthy and 100%, that completely changes things for me, and I like BC there as well. I'm not sure he is 100%. I think he'll be healthier than he's been in quite some time. Obviously, he's expected to suit up and play. Maybe I'm completely wrong. He rushes for 200 yards in this game. I don't know. I think Miami's defense is good enough to stymie A.J. Dillon to the degree where Anthony Brown is going to have to make throws in the passing game to win this football game. They are at home. It's going to be close. I'm going to take Miami narrowly here. I'm not betting it. I don't feel confident about this pick at all either, for what it's worth. I'm just going to trust Miami in their talent, and they have more talented players, and that's about it. I don't know. Don't feel great about it, Joey. I'll take Miami narrowly on the road. Definitely do not bet this game, though. That could go a million different directions.
You giving the 3.5 here?
I'm giving the 3.5 if you're making me. Yeah, I'll give the 3.5.
You're welcome to take the 3.5 if you want.
I'm not taking anything. I just don't feel good about this pick at all, but whatever.
Yeah. I'm curious to see again what happens with the quarterback situation with Miami. In particular, I mean, Boston College's defense has been solid this year. I think that they can, largely hold up against Miami's rushing attack, and kind of in the same way, I think the quarterbacks are going to have to be the ones winning this game for either team. I don't know that either team is going to be able to run the ball particularly well. And that being said, I'm not really sure which team's quarterbacks I feel better about. We've seen good games from each of them, but we've also seen some very questionable performances. I mean, Anthony Brown looked really good against Louisville last week or a couple weeks ago, but before that, he had 3 straight games where he topped out at 56% completion, and it was a little bit of a more nervous experience watching him throw the ball. So it could go either way. Mike, here's what I do feel pretty good about in this game. The total's 50.5.
Yeah, under.
That's an under for me.
Yes.
That's an under, and I am considering that for my pick of the week, but come back to me on that one. I might have something different later.
Yep.
So I'm taking Boston College in the 3.5. I'm giving you Boston College outright. I think the Eagles win this game straight up. Mike has Miami minus 3.5. So we will see.
You're just a hater.
Who's the better man there. Mike, let's move on to Saturday. We have a full slate of ACC games this week, by the way. We got 7 conference games featuring the 14 ACC conference teams. This is really like where we've kind of turned a corner into the home stretch of the season. We're just getting some conference action and a lot of really good referendums on people. We're going to start at noon on ABC, the number 2 Clemson Tigers, a 16.5-point favorite in Tallahassee against the Florida State Seminoles. Mike, I think there's 2 ways you can approach this game. A, Tallahassee, kind of a tough place to play. Florida State looking better.
A lot of talent.
A lot of talent. Florida State, Clemson coming off the emotional win, maybe a letdown situation. Or Clemson minus anything. And I think I'm on side B of that argument, Mike.
Clemson minus anything is the side I am on as well. And good for Florida State. They got talent both on and off the field, and their record's not great this year. And but at least the girls are hot. So they do have that going for them. That's about it. Clemson by 1,000 here.
Clemson, yeah.
Yeah. Florida State's defense might hold up for a little while, but that offense will not. So yeah. You better hope, like, if you're a Florida State fan, you better hope they find a way to run the ball in this game, because otherwise DeAndre Francois might die. I mean, he'll play well. I think he'll be fine. Like, he'll be respectable. And like we've said multiple times, like, put the ball in his hands. That usually, works out. Yeah. But with that being said, if they don't run the ball in this game, that pass rush will literally kill DeAndre Francois. Like, it won't be good. So, Clemson's defense is going to suffocate the Florida State offense, I think, over the course of 4 quarters. I think Florida State will have some success moving the ball in this game, but I think once you get to the second half and that pass rush is going after that offensive line, oh boy, they're going to wear them down, I think. So, yeah, give me Clemson here pretty comfortably. I think Trevor Lawrence will have a lot of success throwing into the secondary as well.
I think Clemson's in war machine mode here. They have hit the gas, and they are going to embarrass a lot of teams, I think, down here down the stretch. I mentioned with Georgia Tech, the best team that they had beaten was Louisville. Florida State, best team they've beaten, Northern Illinois. Louisville, the second best team that they've beaten, and they find themselves at 4-3. I think they're a little bit false, we'll say. If you look at the metrics again, they also gave Miami quite the game, but for the most part, they actually didn't really outplay Miami. They were just very opportunistic. I don't think that thing is going to be an option here against a really, really solid Clemson team. Again, one that keeps showing us some crazy efforts here. So, yeah, I'm laying the 16.5 with Clemson. I trust them in a lot to just roll in this game. Other thing to consider, Mike, total's 51. Thoughts on that?
Over.
I like the over in that. I think Clemson can run up, 35 to 45 points here. I think Florida State might get some junk time scoring in. That's a pretty low number for a couple teams that do have something in the way of offense. So, I like over 51 in that game as well.
Yep.
Let's move on. 7 o'clock on ESPN2. The number 22 NC State Wolfpack coming off of a absolutely demoralizing stomping of a loss to Clemson. They're on the road in the Carrier Dome, taking on the Orange, who are coming off of a last-second kind of come-from-behind win over North Carolina. This is a weird line, Mike. 2.5. The Wolfpack only favored by 2.5. It is a road game. Syracuse has had times where they've looked good this year, but I'll be honest, I think we're trying to underrate NC State here a little bit and maybe overrate Syracuse a little bit with this 2.5 number. I think Syracuse is starting to crumble a little bit, and I think NC State's a lot better than they looked last week. I'm pretty happy to lay 2.5 points here with the Wolfpack.
I am too. I think NC State's pretty good, and I think the fact that NC State's biggest game of the year and the first time we've really seen them play a quality opponent was last Saturday against War Machine Clemson, and I think that's why we're to the point now where NC State is all of a sudden underrated. I think NC State's got a good team still. Ryan Finley's still the quarterback there last time I checked. He did not look good. Not looking good is an understatement. He played one of his worst games of his college career against Clemson last Saturday. He's going to be better this Saturday because Syracuse's defense is absolutely atrocious. NC State, look, they did not look good against Clemson. A lot of teams could go up against Clemson right now and put up the showing that they put up last Saturday, including Syracuse, by the way, who played them well in Death Valley a few weeks ago. You play that game this Saturday, Clemson by 1,000,000, right? Like, this is a different Clemson team, a more focused Clemson team. Trevor Lawrence is a lot more comfortable than he was when he went up against Syracuse a few weeks ago. This is a different animal with Clemson right now. They would have done that to a lot of teams. I think that's why you're looking at this line and you're like, man, NC State got smoked and Syracuse played them close in Death Valley. Like, NC State minus 2.5 here. Give me the Wolfpack to win and cover. I think they win this game pretty comfortably, Joey. I do. I get Syracuse can score a lot of points. We're not really sure who the quarterback's going to be. It could be Dungy, could be DeVito. Probably we'll see both, right? But at the end of the day, I like NC State to win this game by 10 or 12 points. I think they win this thing comfortably. I think the defense plays well enough. And I think Ryan Finley's going to have a big-time bounce-back day here, so I like the Wolfpack here to win and cover on the road.
I was going to say 7 to 10 points is a margin of victory for NC State. The thing is, with Eric Dungy and Tommy DeVito, that whole situation is really up in the air for Syracuse. I wonder a little bit how that affects things. I mean, we've had a couple of games where we've seen Tommy DeVito look really good, significantly better than when Eric Dungy's running the offense. And I wonder if that changes what we see from Syracuse. I wonder if that's maybe somewhat cooked into the line here. I'm not really sure, but that's definitely a factor to consider. But I think we're in agreement here, Mike. Lay the 2.5 with NC State, and let's just go with the Wolfpack. I think this is a 7 to 10 point win. Total 64 in this game. I'd probably leave that alone. It could go either way. That's kind of a lot of points, anyways.
And Joey, will you allow me to call my shot here?
Yeah, all yours.
NC State minus 2.5 is my pick of the week, Joey.
Uh-oh.
That is my pick of the week.
Shoot, boy. Lock it up.
We back.
Mike, by the way, this year is 4-4 on ACC picks of the week. I find myself a humble 3-5. So
neither one of those are all that great.
Yeah, but neither one's really making money at this point, right, for what that's worth.
Right. Combined, we're definitely not making money.
Yeah, that's for sure. And while we're talking about it, on the year, Mike, an even 28-1 in his spread picks, thanks to an 0-4 week, assisted by Justin Cates last week. And I find myself at 29-27-1, which I don't think that's in the black either. I think that's technically losing money if you're getting minus 110 on everything. So follow us at your own risk. However, we tend to do better in some of these weeks with more games. So hopefully this is better.
This is true.
Let's lay 2.5 with NC State, Mike. Let's feel good about it. Your pick of the week. I like it. Good call.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate that.
Game I'm really interested to talk about here. 12:20 p.m. on the ACC Network Extra. The North Carolina Tar Heels on the road at the Virginia Cavaliers. the Cavaliers a 9-point favorite here at home, Mike. Virginia in the driver's seat. They've beaten Miami. They've beaten Duke. They are contending for first place in the division. UNC still got a pretty questionable record at 1-5. You giving 9 with Virginia here?
I like Virginia, but not by 9. That seems like a lot because North Carolina has actually, under the radar, played okay the last couple of weeks. They nearly beat Virginia Tech. They nearly beat Syracuse in double overtime last Saturday. I like North Carolina to cover here, Joey, but Virginia wins this football game. They're the better team.
I think I'm with you on this. I wouldn't be surprised to watch North Carolina win this game outright. North Carolina, you're right. They have played better the last couple of weeks. They pretty much had Syracuse beat up until the late in the fourth quarter. They pretty much had Virginia Tech beat, except for a goal line fumble, right, that would have put the game away for North Carolina. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, they have absolutely played better. In their last 4 games, the only one absolute stinker they had was the one against Miami on a Thursday night where they turned the ball over like 100 times. But other than that, I mean, they beat Pittsburgh. They damn near beat Virginia Tech, and they damn near beat Syracuse. I'm talking myself into it here, Mike. Let's just whatever. What the hell? North Carolina outright.
Wow.
Because we can't have nice things in the Coastal, Mike.
Hello.
Virginia, just when it all starts to look good, they're going down because, nothing makes sense anymore. Give me North Carolina in the 9 and go outright. Let's check with the odds here. What is the money line right now? North Carolina. It is plus 290, so barely 3-1. I don't really like those odds. I think I'd want like 4-1 on this.
Just kidding.
I think I want 4-1 before I'm actually putting money on this. But you know what? What the hell? North Carolina plus the 9 and just outright on the field. I think they win this game and just throw a whole wrench into the ACC Coastal.
Let's do it.
What the hell? Get weird. 3:30 p.m. on the ACC Network Extra, Mike. The Duke Blue Devils, a 2.5-point road favorite in Pittsburgh at the world-famous Hornets' Nest known as Heinz Field. This is, again, 3:30 p.m. Duke, a 2.5-point favorite. I don't know what to do with that. It's like I kind of like Duke to cover a small line even on the road, but I don't know how much I trust Duke, and I really don't know how much I trust Pittsburgh.
The Duke hype train has really pissed me off, so I'm going to go with Pitt, even though Pitt sucks. It's a battle of 2 bad teams. Duke is closet bad. Like, they are closet bad, Joe.
Might be. I
get the analytics. Oh, but they have a decent defense, and they do some decent things on offense. They suck. They suck. Don't be fooled. Like, they suck.
Fired Up Mike is my favorite Mike.
Yes. Now, for the record, Pittsburgh also really sucks. I mean, they suck worse than Duke. I'm just mad about the Duke hype, so I'm picking Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And it's a coin flip game, too. Like, Duke's a better team than Pitt, right? Like, they are. Like, it's a coin flip game. But they're on the road. Heinz Field's it's a library. It's a weird game. I don't know. Why is this game at 3:30? That's not. I have questions here. Why is this game at 3:30? I would much rather UNC UVA be at 3:30 than this game.
Sure.
I have questions there. Also, why is Clemson Florida State at nooner on ABC? Make that whatever. I'm getting off track. Give me
Mike. Let me ask you a question here.
All right, ask away.
Daniel Jones, Kenny Pickett. Who's going to be the better quarterback on the field on Saturday? Ooh, yeah. You might be stumped here.
Who should it be? Daniel Jones.
100% it should be.
But it's the Coastal, so Kenny Pickett.
I mean, yeah. Just go opposite day on everything. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I'm sitting here thinking about Duke. Like, we all kind of think that Duke is a better team than Pittsburgh for some reason or other. But, like, is Duke's defense really that much better than Pittsburgh's? And is Duke's quarterback really that much better than Pittsburgh's? And is their running game that much better than Pittsburgh's? I don't know. The analytics tell us it is. S&P Plus projects Pittsburgh to win this game, or Duke to win this game by, almost 8 points. And yet, I mean, you're right, Mike. Like, what my eyes tell me, I don't know about that. I I think I'm going to follow the analytics. I'm going to say Duke in the 2.5 just because I don't know. Again, I can't have nice things, and frankly, I would be okay if Duke weren't that great, but they're going to keep winning somehow and continue to piss me off. But I'm just going to lay 2.5 with Duke, say that they're going to win this game outright, and trust the analytics. But this is a total coin flip game. This goes either direction.
In the words of Michael Scott, I'd rather fall into a pool of acid eyes first than watch this football game. That's where we're at. No, thank you. I don't want to watch this game.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a tough one to watch.
I can guarantee you there are better games on TV at 3:30.
Oh damn! You had to add the 3:30 qualifier on that because I was going to use that as a segue into our last game, Mike. 12 o'clock on the ACC Network Extra. The game where somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to get a conference win here. Wake Forest on the road at Louisville. The Cardinals somehow a 2.5-point favorite. I've been seeing there's all sorts of crap following Louisville around right now. They had a tight end that was kicked off the team for threatening to kill his girlfriend, which cool. There was a rumor going around the internet today as we record on Tuesday evening that Bobby Petrino was officially out, even though that was like total just making up crap and seeing how long it can go on Twitter for. Louisville is in a total downward spiral right now. They don't look like they care. They don't look like they want to be there. They've gotten, beaten up pretty good the last couple of games. They're coming off a bye week, which helps. But I just think Dave Clawson is going to have Wake Forest fighting a lot harder in this game. I think the Deacons are going to look a lot more well-coached. Whether or not their defense can be effective, I mean, at least on offense, I think they're going to put up some points here. Give me Wake Forest plus the 2.5 and outright. I think Wake Forest wins this game straight up.
I do too, and you nailed it, and I don't really have much to add. I think Wake Forest is going to try harder than Louisville. I think Dave Clawson will have them more ready to play than Bobby Petrino will. Give me Wake. Give me Wake.
Louisville's in full implosion mode right now.
They are, and Wake Forest is going to try a lot harder, and I think that'll make the difference in a close game on the road. I think you have one team that's quitting and one team that isn't very good this year because they're young, but they're trying really hard to be good, and they have some playmakers, and not that Louisville doesn't. They have plenty of playmakers. It's just that team's quitting on Petrino, and this team is still fighting for Clawson. So it's two completely different situations. Young team, lot to prove, fighting really hard, even though they aren't all that good. A Louisville team that's probably more talented than Wake Forest is that has completely quit on their head coach. And I like the team that's trying a lot harder right now, and that's Wake Forest.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. This is one of those I'll probably end up betting this weekend just because I'll be shocked if Louisville is able to put together a full 60 minutes and pull this game out.
Completely agree.
Let me look at where Wake Forest is on the money line right now. Plus 120. So, yeah, barely any juice on that. So, probably not worth it. Mike, you got a pick of the week. It's NC State minus 2.5. I'm kind of between Miami Boston College under 50.5 and Wake Forest plus 2.5. Where are we leaning on this one? Do we feel better about?
I think I'd lean the under 50.5 only because while we just made a compelling case for Wake Forest, they are not very good.
Yeah.
Neither is Louisville, but Louisville's at home. So that's a game where even though we just made a compelling case for Wake Forest, there's also a path for them not to win. That's that the more talented team, in my opinion, is Louisville, and the more talented team is playing at home. So I think I'd lean, if I'm making a pick between those two, I think I'm leaning the under 50.5 because you got two good defenses and two questionable quarterbacks. Plus Lorenzo Lingard's hurt for Miami, so he's done for the year.
Amon Richards done for the year.
Richards done for a year. Like Rozier's back in a quarterback. Like choose your own adventure there. Like AJ Dillon, like finally playing, probably not 100%. Anthony Brown, completely and totally inconsistent. We all know what we're getting week to week. I think you go under 50.5 and you feel pretty good about it, Joey.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I agree with that argument that Louisville probably the more talented team than Wake Forest, and there is definitely a scenario. I mean, especially as questionable as Wake Forest defense has been, you can see a case where Louisville could just kind of boat race them, right? Win this game 38-28 or something. I mean, put up a bunch of points on them, and kind of run away from them. So I think that's in play. Yeah. All right. Pick of the week, Miami Boston College under 50.5. Once again, I am 3-5 in picks of the week this year. So again, at your own risk.
I like that pick, Joey. I do. I like that pick this week.
Yeah.
And I think you should bet NC State minus 2.5 with me. I think we should both get in on that with our wallets.
You say that, but I don't think there's anything that you want to be on that I'm also on right now, because I am on a cold streak of all cold streaks. It's real bad, Mike.
Me too, but one of us has to break out of it, or both, and might as well be both.
That's fair.
That's my opinion. So
maybe the smart thing is to lay 16.5 points with Clemson and just say Clemson minus anything as a general principle moving forward.
Florida State 27, Clemson 24.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
We're going to be sitting here on Sunday talking about how the hell this happened, and I'm going to blame you for making this comment. And that's going to be what happened.
Call your shot, baby.
Shoot or shoot.
Shoot or shoot.
All right. Mike, that's all I got for week 9. Anything else?
I don't think so. That was a pretty efficient preview there.
It was efficient, yeah. I don't think we dug too far into the details. Once again, we agree Virginia Tech minus 3 Thursday night, Clemson minus 16.5, NC State minus 2.5, North Carolina plus 9, Wake Forest plus 2.5. Not nearly enough disagreeing for my liking. I thought we were going to be in disagreement a little more. I've got Boston College plus 3.5 against Miami. Mike's on the other side of that. Mike has Pittsburgh plus 2.5 against Duke, and I'm on the other side of that one. So
for no good reason, by the way.
Yeah, not particularly. And once again, picks of the week, Mike, NC State minus 2.5 at Syracuse. Myself, Miami Boston College under 50.5. So do with all of that information what you will. But Mike, you're right. Good preview. Week 9 should be fun. A lot of good ACC action spread across Thursday and Friday and Saturday. So I look forward to recapping these games with you when we come back. Until then, you can find us on Twitter. I am at FTRS Joey. He is at Mike McDaniel CFB, and together we're at BC Podcast ACC. You can send us an email with your questions, comments, concerns. It's the longest email address known to man, basketballconferencepodcast@gmail.com.
Nailed it.
Yeah, and it's been a while since y'all have sent us an email, so somebody email us something. We need to make sure we keep the lights on there in the old email account.
Andrew Parker, send us an
You're
email.
up.
Damn it, you're up.
You're up, Chief. Mike, I got lost there for a second. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, the Overcast app, wherever fine podcasts are sold for free. And Mike, tell them where they can find us on the social medias.
Ooh, curveball. I'm going to change it up on you. Rate and review us on iTunes, goddammit.
Ooh.
Rate and review us on iTunes. Do that.
All right.
And you can also find us on Facebook, too. Facebook.com/basketballconference. Rate and review us and find all of our podcasts there, Joey.
Yes, please do. That was saucy, Mike. I like it. Well done.
It was. Tonight.
Yeah. And finally, you can find us on YouTube. Go search for our channel, Basketball Conference, just on YouTube. There's not a fancy URL or anything like that. You can come check out our videos. And if we look a little bit distracted, don't worry about it. It's cool. There's nothing else going on.
Right. It's totally not Game 1 of the World Series tonight with my favorite team in it. So
absolutely not. No, it is not.
Not.
But if it were, go Sox. Because
correct.
I can't cheer for the Dodgers here.
Correct.
I don't know. I might have just pissed off half of Atlanta, but it's fine.
Don't care.
Mike, that's all I got. Anything else you want to come back and recap these games?
I want to come back and recap these games. You may have pissed off half of Atlanta, but you made your podcast co-host happy. So, I mean, I'll take that moral victory on that one. Okay, appreciate that. Mike, go Jackets on Thursday night. No, die. Well, please at least report in from the stadium, and I would love to do some on the ground reporting here. If you find some fellow Jackets out there, I could do that. See what you can find out. I could do that. If you're gonna be there in Blacksburg on Thursday night, go hit up Mike. Again, he's at Mike McDaniel CFB. He would love to interview you or buy you a beer or something like that. Yes, please do come to Hokie House. I'm hosting the pregame show there, Joey, for the radio station. So hell yeah, come to Hokie House downtown Blacksburg. I'll be there from 4 to 6, doing some radio stuff. So come buy me a beer, and I'll buy you a beer, baby. They let Georgia Tech fans in the Hokie House. I'm sure that's probably fine. 100%. All right. Well, Mike, may the best Tech win, and may the best Tech be Georgia Tech. We'll come back and recap these games on Sunday. Enjoy Blacksburg, and we will talk then. Sounds good, man. All right. Well, until then, for Mr. Mike McDaniel, I am Joey Weaver. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll talk to you again soon, and until next time, go ACC.